नमस्ते। आप कैसे हैं? मैं अच्छा हूँ। मेरे जीवन के लिए भगवान का शुक्र है। आपकी जीवन के लिए भगवान का शुक्र है। आपकी इंतलास का शुक्रिया। मैं आपसे भी सी प्यार करता हूँ। मुझे आशा है आप खुश हैं. And to everyone that does not speak Hindi, thanks for tuning in. Thank God for another day. I love you all. Thanks for your interest. Are you a dog owner? Thank you for inviting a dog into your home. I hope you are a conscious dog owner. That dog is very much so depending on you. Now, if you do get a dog, it's important that you dedicate yourself to your dog's exercise. Your dog, like a human, has built up energy it needs to burn off. And if it doesn't get an opportunity to do that, there's a strong possibility you will feel like your dog is misbehaving. And it's not entirely the dog's fault. So your dog will also not likely get to a point where it doesn't need you to make sure it has its exercise. You really need to dedicate yourself to that for the sake of your dog's well-being. Also, when you're feeding your dog, dogs generally get moisture from their food when they eat naturally for dogs. And once they become domestic, I'm not judging anybody, but it is very much so normalized that a lot of our domestic dogs are fed strictly dry food. And I encourage you as a dog owner to ensure your dog gets moisture through food as well. Of course, lots of water is vital for all life, but drinking water with just dry food doesn't quite hydrate the inside of the body. If you don't make sure your dog has moisture in its food, there's a strong possibility it could lead to obesity due to the buildup in your dog's body, just like a human. So please make sure your dog gets moisture in its food. And you really need to have patience for your dog's barking. Dogs bark, and when a dog is barking at something that it feels is a threat, well, it's very focused on whatever it is barking at, and it doesn't like it, and it's going to bark. You can train your dog, of course, properly to not be a maniac when it comes to barking, but again, dogs do bark. Dogs don't speak languages like humans. I do feel they may have a higher consciousness to language due to the understanding that dogs can be trained to keyword commands. And they can. However, another thing to keep in mind is if you have the same treat, reward for the same action to a keyword, the dog may be learning the keyword, but that dog may also just be learning to sit to eat and not because of the verbalization. And the reason that matters is because when the dog is in alarm mode where it's barking at something or someone, it's not sitting for a treat at that moment. And if you choose to scream stop and scream and scream and scream, I feel it could be logically understood that to your dog who doesn't speak English, the dog is screaming, the human is screaming, and we're all screaming at this threat. And there's no need to stop barking because even the human is barking at this. They'll basically hear keywords that they want to learn. I feel like when it comes to speaking a language to a dog, it may be a lot like, well, right now, when I hear people speak Mandarin, I don't understand everything, but I do understand enough to respond. And I think with dogs, it could be a situation where they pick up on the few keywords they do know amongst all the noise that this human is making with their mouth. So please have patience with your dog when it comes to your dog's barking. Now you can correlate a lot of that over to raising a human, in that your child does need you to encourage him or her, to be active and take care of their physical health. The earlier in your life you excuse doing exercise, the sooner in your life you start losing your ability to exercise. So that is something that you as an individual need to take care of. And your child needs strong examples for that to take it seriously. Now, unlike the dog, your child should reach an age where they just know and they just take care of their own physical health, and they want to be exercising and they want to be doing that for the sake of their own health. And you, as their parent, also need to continue to take care of your own physical health and exercise. So when the responsibility of your child's exercise transfers over to your child, well, you yourself still have your own need to exercise and take care of your own health. The best way to encourage your child to do that is just to do it yourself throughout their life. So when they're young, find activities that you both like, and it doesn't matter if it's a sport or not. It can be just activities that you like. It could be walking. It could be anything. You could just walk and talk. And you could play rugby. You could play football. It doesn't matter. Just stay active. And then when your child's activity and exercise is transferred to them, well, you, as the healthy parent, don't feel the need to make any excuses as to why you're not exercising, because you also want to keep exercising, because you have also maintained that responsibility for your own physical health. And you just keep doing it. And then you and your child, whether if you're in the same room or not, you know you're both exercising and taking care of your own physical health. So that also goes over to your significant other or your spouse. Their physical activity in reference to their exercise and stuff like that, that's not your responsibility, and yours is not theirs. So if you feel the need to be exercising, you should be. And if you are with somebody that is not, and they don't want to do the same things as you, well, you can not do it too. It's always an option, but it's very, very serious to your health that you keep exercising. So again, you need to be able to address the source of the guidance that you're getting in that way. See, if you stop exercising and do things that they're doing that are less active, well, you will also lose your desire to do that for yourself. And so that person that is not as active should really learn from your example rather than the other way around. And if they don't, well, the fact remains that your physical reality is very much so depending on you to take care of your own physical health, and the quality that you live within your own vessel, not within your spouse's vessel, within your vessel, the quality that you have, well, it's based on your activity. So not your child's and not your spouse's, ever. Additionally, when you're feeding your child, it's important, just like the dog, that your child gets moisture in their food. Humans, when eating naturally, eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. And obviously there's a lot of moisture in that. Again, eating really dry, processed foods and drinking water, well, drinking water is always the best decision, but that doesn't really hydrate your organs like eating the food that has the moisture in it. It's not the same thing. They're both important and they're both adding to the hydration of your inside, but eating the food with the moisture in it plays a different role once it gets in your body than drinking a glass of water. You really should ensure that your children have well-rinsed fruits and vegetables included on their plate at all times. And you don't have to feed them a specific fruit or vegetable. You just have to make sure they find some that they do like. Obviously, it would be easier for you in your grocery bill if it was things that you could all like. However, just like the exercise, if you, as the healthy parent, make sure you consume moisture through your food in that way throughout your child's life, that's just what your child would know. And your child will find their own fruits and vegetables that they do like, and know that that is important, and be properly hydrating their organs and their insides. And just like your child, your spouse's food is not really your responsibility. And I do understand you live in the same home and the grocery bill, and you like eating a lot of the same foods in some ways. However, your food is your food, their food is their food. Your physical health and your quality of life is a direct reflection, a very honest and bold reflection of your consumption. So if you, I've seen this a lot over the years with other couples too. If you are in a relationship and you are really wanting to eat healthy and get healthier, and you're with somebody that does not, it's common for that person to eat healthier and that person to not. And eventually the person that is stops because the other person is not. The groceries are still being purchased with all the stuff that that person doesn't want to eat. They're all still in the house and they're already having a hard time sticking to it as it is. And they just stop. And they just stop eating healthier and give in to the other perspective. Now, if that person gets out of your life for any reason, you're still left with that decision and you're starting from square one. Just like the exercise, if you are trying your best to learn your own physical health and get healthier, and you're with somebody that isn't on board with that, you may be able to live with that, and you as a couple may be able to figure it out. And I'm not saying it has to be the end of a relationship. However, if you accept a lower grade of health to satisfy that other person, well, you are very much so still consciously accepting a lower degree of health, and you know better and they don't, but you're still doing what you know you shouldn't do to your own health. So it's all very much so a situation where you need to take care of your own physical health throughout your life. And if you are taking good care of your physical life, when you do meet somebody and you are eating right, well, that person will be interested in you taking care of your own health if they are as well. And it won't matter if it's the same foods, because it's the same fundamental of the understanding, the responsibility as an individual. I believe that will be intuitionally understood by the majority. So it's really important that you take care of your own physical health. I have posted a video on my YouTube discussing how to properly create your own enzymes. And we all know how to exercise. And one other element that is special to true health as a human versus an animal is our spiritual health. Animals don't have the conscious choice that humans have. And in that conscious choice comes the need for a healthy spiritual understanding. And from my personal perspective, a healthy spiritual understanding is simply an acceptance of your spirituality and others' spirituality. And if you can remain peaceful in your own development of your own spirituality with the acceptance of others' peaceful spiritualities, the fine detail of your spirituality doesn't have to be forced on another peaceful individual who's okay with the fine details of your spiritual understanding. And in that, peace can still exist. Ultimately, we don't want to be guided towards harming other human beings for any reason other than survival or defense, which is essentially survival. You don't see animals in the animal kingdom really attacking their own. They generally travel in packs and take care of each other. And I feel like when you do develop your own true health, physically, mentally, and spiritually as a human being, well, it kind of creates a perspective similar to an ant, where when an ant is in trouble, it kind of sends out the vibes, right? And if it's a very big anthill, some of the ants won't pick up on the signal, but all the ants that are in a close vicinity of that distressed ant will pick up on that signal and go to help them. And that's a very accurate description as to a truly healthy human perception, in that if we see that some of our fellow humans are in distress for some reason, and we pick up on that signal, well, we just generally help them. Not because we need a pat on the back, but because we just want to help other humans be peaceful. Because as an individual, as a community, as a country, as a continent, and as a world, if peace is not the goal, peace will not be the destination. And peace cannot be the destination unless the humans choose it. Nature doesn't have conscious choice. So it very much so karmatically, boldly, and honestly responds to our conscious choice. So, coming to the end of this discussion, I really feel like it's vitally important that we understand the difference between natural and unnatural foods. And right now, the humans on this planet that have the means to nurse us back to life and back to health and back to peace are our farmers. We need to save our farmers from the factory food bullying that's going on in our supermarkets. This is something I feel very vulnerable to express. Thank you for accepting that. When I personally go shopping in my Canadian grocery store, I could very much so remove a solid 75% of that store because I already know I'm not going anywhere near that food. We have whole aisles of chips and bars and popcorn and candy, and even our cereal aisle and our Dunkaroos and our cereal bars. I'm not eating 75 to 80% of the food that's in my Canadian grocery store because it's all factory food, and I've dedicated myself to all natural food. And if I'm standing, like when I had my car, if I'm standing in a gas station waiting to pay for my gas and I have a hunger on, I look around, I can't eat anything in that gas station. And I know how normal it is for people just to pick that stuff up and consider it, you know, having a snack or having a meal. And I really hope that our children can understand the difference between natural and unnatural foods, and we can help our farmers get funded and push them towards filling our grocery store with actual healthy consumption. And that is not a joke to me, because if the factory becomes the monopoly within our grocery store, it will also be the monopoly in our kitchens, and it will also be the monopoly in our bloodstream, and cancer will never go away, and our clarity of mind will never come back, and our spirituality will be harder to find, and we're going to be sluggish and less likely to want to exercise, because nature does not have conscious choice. It reacts very karmatic and boldly to our decisions as individuals, as communities, as countries, as continents, and as a world. Thank you all for your time. Mujhe jana chahe. Belsi. May aapse bhi pyar krata hoon. I love you all. Acha khao, acha mahasous karo. Eat well and feel good. Sabiko shanti. Thank God again. Alvida.